Welcome to another messaging accountant tutorial. Today we are going to look at the exam topics produced by CXC for Principles of Accounts, CSEC 2022. So let's get right into it. This time CXC released 6 topics instead of the 9 that they did last year. So 4 of the topics are repeat, these 4 here, and we have 2 new topics here coming in. So what I've done is I have taken the discussions from last year that we had here and included them first, and then I just added on these 2 here. Okay, so let's get right into the
one is the ledgers and the trial balance. That is section 4, right? And this is what you could expect to see from in the. I have all the items from the syllabus here from section 4. It looks long, but isn't really all that long, right? The first part is deals with classification of accounts, nominal and real and personal accounts. And you should be able to tell what type of accounts an account is. Okay, so those nice little part C's that you get, and part B's that you get where it asks you to identify the number, identify the account, what type it is. This you would have to be able to do, right? Then you have the different types of ledgers for recording the nominal, real, and personal accounts. General ledger, sales accounts, and purchases accounts. Sales go in the accounts receivable, purchases go in the accounts payable. Rules of entry for assets, liabilities, and income. Capital and expenses. You must know when to debit and when to credit. So you have to go back to those tables and memorize them if you haven't memorized them up to now. Same thing would go for all these here. Write them down on a piece of card or something, and wherever you're going, you could get prepared for this whole question here on ledgers and the trial balance, right? And this side here, the rest of here is more practicing. You have to practice to record transactions and accounts using the double entry and posting to the general and subsidiary ledger in total from the books of original entry. Then how to balance accounts, carry down and bring down those balances. Significance of the balance brought down as the amount carried into the next month, and how to prepare trial balance. I have 2 YouTube videos upon that you should be able to, and it should also be in the classroom. Uses and limitations of the trial balance, right? This is barely a reading exercise that you need to learn 1 or 2 of them from. So you could have, this is all the possibilities for ledgers and trial balance. And if you are able to carry out all your revision in this year, you should be able to have that question covered. Right, we have the books of original entries, and again, it's looking long, but it isn't all that long. Like things like a sales invoice is a short thing, purchase invoice, but you know these, you know both of them, the source documents, and which book to record them in. You should be also acquainted with how they drawn up, right? Then we have the books themselves, the general journal. You have to know which one of these items here goes in which book here, right? And the cash and credit transactions, the use of forms of payment, including cash, checks, credit cards, and debit cards, right? I did a session on that with you when we were doing banking, okay, and bank reconciliations. So this has a very nice video on this. The same one that we did in class covers the whole thing, and it's there in the YouTube channel. You can look at it again. It has been getting a lot of views from students all around the Caribbean. So if you haven't looked at it, you look at it for your revision. And this is another part of the same section. The use of source document prepared to create transactions, right? Record the transaction using source documents in these books here. Treatment of trade discounts and cash discounts, right? Trade discounts are not recorded. Cash discounts are recorded in the cash book, and you should know how to calculate them. Just calculating the percentage of a figure. All right, balancing of the cash book. Okay, this normally carries 4 or 5 marks sometimes in an exam, and it's a simple affair. I think I have a lesson on that in the Form 4 classroom. I'll see if I put it over in the Form 5 classroom as well. And there's a video on the YouTube channel with it as well. Same to the petty cash book and the impress system. The significance of the balances brought down in the cash books, right? It means the money you have left over for the next month, and the treatment of totals on the books of original entry, the day books, how you transfer them into the control accounts and the accounts in the general ledger. Okay. My bank reconciliation PowerPoint presentation is in the classroom. It's also in a video form on YouTube. It's fairly comprehensive, and it covers just about everything you need to know in there. Similarly, with the correction of errors, I will do another step from the past papers because I know students have problems here, right? The suspense account, same thing. Students have problem here, but there's 1 or 2 videos I have up on the YouTube channel dealing with that again. And the control account, same thing. Okay, now with something with the control accounts, you need to learn them off by heart, right? What goes on the debit side and what goes on the credit side. So when you get something like that in an exam, it's always either you know it or you don't know it business. And it's something that you could simply spend a half an hour memorizing them. And when you go into the exam, you can easily make full marks on them, right? They are always the same. Just the figures will be changing. And on presented checks, these are the items that you need to know in your cash book for updating your cash book, right? The 2 steps in the creating of the bank reconciliation statement. One of them is updating the cash book, and then the other is doing the reconciliation itself, right? Uses and construction of the bank reconciliation statement. Next, we have limited liability company, section 9. The features of the limited liability company, the types of limited liability company that you have. These are all reading in just a few pages in a textbook, and you could know this thing here, right? Methods of raising capital, the preference shares, ordinary shares, and debentures and bank loans and so on. Like that. Okay, this is a nice area that they keep asking in a part B and a part C. Okay, so the shareholders' equity, share capital, and the reserves, types of shares, rights and privileges of owners for each type of shares, the right, which one of them have the right to vote and which one of them just provide capital, right? Journal entries to record capital, calculation of dividend payment, appropriation of profit, dividends and reserve. I had all this in a PowerPoint presentation, and I think I did one or two questions from the past papers that are up in the YouTube channel. Final accounts of limited liabilities company, right? That's your income statement and your balance sheet, right? You remember to learn it in vertical format, right? Because that is what is needed for companies. You must show the working capital. Calculation and interpretation of accounting ratios, right? We already did that. But you have to do it for companies as well. Okay. And then we have preparation of receipts and payments account only, right? They do not give you the income and expenditure account here anymore, right?
Okay. So the manufacturing account. First, you must be able to distinguish between direct and indirect costs. Direct costs are traceable costs. They are also called prime costs. They can be traced directly to a unit of the product, whereas the indirect costs cannot be traced. Direct costs is also called touch, in that you can actually touch the item at first. Elements of costs: direct materials, direct labor, direct expenses, and factory overheads. You should be able to prepare manufacturing accounts. These are the sections that you have in the manufacturing account here. Cost of raw material use, prime cost, factory overheads, work in progress, and the cost of production. Okay, so you can use whatever format you want as long as you are able to label these figures here correctly. Next, you have to be able to calculate the cost of items produced, the unit cost. You simply take the production cost that you got here and divide it by the number of units. You prepare full or final accounts for the manufacturing concern. In addition to the manufacturing account, you should be able to prepare a trading account, income statement, and a balance sheet. Okay, the difference between the balance sheet is you will have three inventories: one for raw materials, one for finished goods, and one for work in progress. Okay, so prepare final accounts for the manufacturing accounts, and those three items you'll have to produce. Apply basic costing principles. Basic costing principles, for example, cost plus pricing, absorption costing, markup. Right? Absorption costing is the same as the unit costing, and markup pricing is you should be able to take the cost of the unit and calculate the selling price of it based on a markup. Same for the cost plus pricing. Finally, we have the business plans. You should be able to prepare cash flow projection for a 6-month period. Prepare simple cash flow projection and outflow, right? So you have inflows and outflows, and these are your sources of cash or your inflows, and these are your outflows here: utilities, wages and salaries, transportation. These are your overhead expenses and are named for outflows. Okay, so we have a video on the channel that shows you how to do this. and cash flow projections. So you can take a look at it and make sure you master this topic because it's likely to come as part of your business plan. Prepare sales and production budgets for a 3-month period and use accounting knowledge and skills to prepare a simple business plan. The format and presentation of the business plan is given again in one of my videos on budget plan. You can look at it, and you must be given the data, and from the data you can write up the plan. Make sure you get the headings right. Don't worry too much about this. We're in chickens or cash crop. The format is always the same. The plan of the business is just the names of things like products will change. Okay, the preparation of simple sales and production budgets, sales target, production cost, production inputs. Okay, so that's your 6 topics that will be coming in your exam. I wish you well in your exam. Please let me know what grade you get